how we as the town can advance our interests at the same time that the university can as well. So with that said, first on the agenda is you, President Dooley, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Rory. Appreciate that, and I appreciate the opportunity to meet with you one last time. So I just want to say good evening and welcome to all of you to this meeting. I want to thank you for hosting this town gown event, even in the midst of everything that we're having to do around COVID-19. I think these kinds of gatherings are even more important. I want to particularly thank your town manager, Robert Zerninski, and your police chief, Joel Ewing-Chow, for their teams and employees for their partnership and collaboration during this past year. Quite honestly, URI's success in managing through this pandemic would have been far more difficult without the complete cooperation and coordination with South Kingstown and your workforce and leadership there. You've been accessible when we needed you, responsive, and truly a great partner. And we just simply could not have had the success that we enjoyed this year without your help. You probably have heard, we think it's very good news that URI will be hosting an in-person commencement this year. We're doing it in accordance with all the guidelines, and we're very excited to be able to provide this opportunity for the class of 2021. And our plan is eventually, perhaps in the fall, to have a separate commencement ceremony for the class of 2020 and invite them back. We're able to do this because we can use Meade Stadium as our outdoor venue. And what we can do is divide up all the commencement ceremonies amongst the various colleges, the graduate school, and so forth, into a variety of independent ceremonies and maintain our caps on the numbers of people as well as social distancing while we're doing all that. Commencement will be a little bit more prolonged, May 21st through May 23rd, which is a day longer than it typically is. And we'll have commencement ceremonies at 10, at 3, and at 6 on several of those days. Everybody who's participating will be part of our COVID-19 testing program and will abide by all the current health regulations. And in our football stadium, Meade Stadium, you know, there's ample room for appropriate social distancing. So we're looking forward to that. We know our students are looking forward to that a great deal. I'm sure all of you are aware that as I mentioned before, this will be my last meeting. I'm resigning from the presidency this summer and turning over the reins of leadership to Dr. Mark Palanche, who is currently the provost and senior vice president at Monash University in Melbourne, Australia. You can imagine it's been a little bit of a challenge for him to find the time to actually get to URI, but he will join us here in South Kingstown this summer. And I just want to say that on a personal note, I have really enjoyed living here amongst all of you. The town of South Kingstown has been a great place for us as a family. Lynn and I have enjoyed a lot of what South County and particularly South Kingstown has to offer, and we'll miss you all. So again, just thank you for your partnership and your leadership. We have with us tonight, you can see on the screen, a number of URI's key leaders, and they can provide you more information on everything from our COVID-19 protocols and plans to what we're going to be doing this summer and how we anticipate next fall to go. And I look forward to our discussion and encourage you to ask any questions you may have, raise any issues that may be on your mind, and we'll be glad to do our best to address them. So once again, thank you very much for this opportunity. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Rory.
Great, thank you, President Dooley. We'll just move through the agenda here. It looks like next is university COVID-19 updates and fall planning.
Thank you for this opportunity, Rory. And again, as President Dooley shared, we could not have done this without you. And we have to explain sometimes what it is that we did. We made it. We were one of the institutions around the country that continued to provide excellent in-person experiences for our students, in-person classes and labs that allowed our students to stay on time working toward their graduations. Many people on the screen with you this evening were instrumental in that success, whether that be our team from across health services and dining services and housing and marketing communications, our public safety team, our amazing faculty. It was an all on deck effort for over a year and a half now that so many people have dedicated their time and energy to truly make it. For those of you keeping track with the calendar, our last day of classes for this semester is a week from today, is on Monday. So literally we're well within that window now where we believe it is time to celebrate. Our students will finish their classes, have a couple of reading days, and then begin their final exams. But again, we thank you for the incredible partnership that you've provided this institution as we navigated this unprecedented event. We do want to provide you with some updates of what our plans are for summer, and then I'll talk a little bit about our plans for the fall. I do share, as we all know, anytime you have updates in a global pandemic, these are all subject to change. So as these change, we'll make sure to communicate as timely as possible with all of you, and know that Ms. Reynolds, myself, and others continue to meet quite regularly with the Rhode Island Department of Health, and we certainly need to give a huge thanks to them in terms of helping us navigate everything. This summer, majority of our summer classes for our students will be remote and or online. We will have some labs that'll be on campus, and we anticipate housing approximately, around 100 students on campus for the summer, and that will be coming and going at any given time. We will offer conferences this summer, camps. We need to get back to our students, our kids being active, being busy, being with each other. We will not provide any overnight events. So again, we will be offering camps and conferences. They will focus on day events. Many of those will certainly be athletic in nature, such as soccer camps, basketball camps, and other activities. In addition to this, as we continue to reinvent ourselves, we will be offering in June and partially into July, a small one-day orientation that will begin approximately 9 a.m. in the morning and end at 3 p.m. This orientation will be very different than the events that we've done in the past, and that this orientation will be a very small group of individuals coming together to see campus, learn about our resources. And again, that will be in June and July, and those events are mostly not overnight. So those people will be coming and going. The reason we need to do this is our incoming class hasn't been on campus. Can you imagine deciding to go to a university or college and maybe not going to visit? We know some of our Rhode Islanders have come to campus, and we've certainly opened up tours again. But for those students coming from further away, we know we want to get them to campus so they can learn about Rhody, see Rhode Island and its beauty in the summer, and really get to experience what the activity will be like. Our fall will be as close to a fall 2019 as we can get, but there'll be some unique differences as we aim toward the fall and somewhat of a return to the academic calendar and academic needs of our community. We do anticipate having a slightly earlier move-in for our incoming first year class. Once those dates are finalized, we will make sure that that information gets to you timely. In the past, you've been very, accustomed to and used to our move-in that typically happened to the residence halls over the Labor Day weekend. We do believe we'll take a couple days ahead of that to do the move into the residence halls, because last year we did about a 4 or 5 day move-in, and it was just nice. It spread people out, it thinned it out a little bit. There wasn't as much chaos, traffic. So we think by thinning that out, we can have even a more successful move-in. Our fall athletic teams will begin arriving August 1st, with our first home football game being scheduled under the lights at 7 p.m. on Labor Day weekend. So again, we do anticipate fall events, fall activities, and being back together in person for many of those. In addition to this, the university did begin just today discussions about what we will do as a university community in regards to the vaccine being required. Currently, there is approximately 40 universities across the country, the majority of them private, who are requiring the vaccine for their students for enrollment this coming fall. 2 of those institutions, Roger Williams University and Brown, are here, obviously, in the state of Rhode Island. At this time, one public university, that is Rutgers in New Jersey, has gone out ahead and announced that requirement. We will continue to work closely with the Department of Health and local health officials, our on-campus community and experts as we continue to evaluate what we'll do about the vaccine. And we'll know and have an announcement out to everyone. So early in the summer, our goal is by June 1st. In addition to this, we have decreased the density for on-campus housing. In fall of 2019, we housed approximately 6,000 students on campus. This year, we dropped to about 3,000 following health and safety guidelines. Next year, we'll be somewhere around 5,000, again, about 5,000, giving rough numbers, individuals on campus. We know this has impacted many of our students as they continue to look for housing. The students have also been impacted by the zoning changes in the town of Narragansett, reducing housing to 3 unrelated persons. Some of those changes have been impacted persons who may have had homes that they were trying to rent to students. We also know some persons have been impacted by higher than normal rent costs. All of these things are things we're aware of, and we'll continue to work with you and other local communities and our incoming president, President Parlange, to continue to address these important issues that's related to housing. Again, we continue to pay attention to this and we'll continue to monitor very closely. I do have Miss Ellen Reynolds, our Assistant Vice President, today with us in regards to any specific COVID-related questions you might have, but know that we'll continue testing. Also testing with URI's test that we developed here on campus. We're very proud about that. And we will continue to encourage our community members to get vaccinated. Now that 16 and up can get vaccinated, many are going to the old Schneider Electric building on West Kingston to get their shots. We're going to be running shuttles back and forth. Again, we continue to encourage vaccinations and we're having discussions about requiring it for the fall. So that's our COVID updates as of today. Again, it could change tomorrow. And I thank you for that. And if you have any specific questions, again, Ms. Reynolds is with us, or certainly myself can help answer. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kathy. I'd just like to mention now, if anyone has any questions, feel free to just raise your hand and I'll acknowledge you to ask those questions. But appreciate the update, Kathy. And if there's no questions, we'll just keep moving through the agenda. Next is the university public safety updates.
Rory, I actually do have a question, if I may.
Yes, Teresa.
Thank you. I was just wondering if you're specifically requesting your own supply of vaccine through Department of Health, should you require a mandate, or even without the requirement? Moving up to 5,000 is pretty close to your full capacity. And I just, am wondering if there isn't something. I mean, I know the Department of Health has been very helpful all along, but I was just, wondering if they were able to give you a supply.
Thank you so much for that question. We have advocated and certainly requested and be able to do our perhaps own vaccine clinic. But I think with the resources already established at Schneider Electric and the center already going, that we'll just continue to support what's really close to campus and providing transportation to that facility and not tax any state resources or other groups across that campus. So we'll continue. I know, Ellen, would you add anything to that?
No, Kathy, that's perfect. I would say that's now for the end of the semester, but we have requested vaccine for opening in the fall. We would hope to be able to catch anybody up who isn't vaccinated or give second doses if some people haven't completed the full series. So it's certainly our hope. We are a vaccinator for the state routinely when there is vaccine available, and we hope to be allocated some in the fall.
My concern was mostly towards the fall, so making sure that all the students that are coming from out of state have that capacity. So thank you.
Okay, we'll keep moving forward and we'll move to university public safety updates.
Thanks very much, Rory. I'm Abigail Ryder. I'm the Vice President for Administration and Finance, and public safety is in my group. I think I wanted to start by just letting those of you who may not know that Steve Baker has decided to retire on June 19th after 16 years with the university. He joined the university as a police major in 2005, and for the last 6 years has served as the Director of Public Safety and Chief of Police. He's done a really excellent job leading public safety, providing a steady hand at the helm and instilling the principles of community policing in the force. We wish him all the best in the next chapter of his life, which I think is going to happen mostly in the Northeast Kingdom in Vermont, based on his latest plans. The search for Steve's replacement is underway. Chief Ewing Chow is participating on the search committee, and we have a strong pool of over 30 applicants. So that seems to be going quite well. And now what I'd like to do is turn it over to Steve and ask him to provide updates on URI public safety. Steve?
First of all, thank you, Vice President Ryder, and I really want to thank you and especially President Dooley for allowing me to serve for the last 16 years. It's been my distinct pleasure, and particularly working with all my partners in South Kingston, most recently Chief Ewing Chow. That relationship goes back a long way, and I think whoever fills the seat, that relationship will continue. It's always been a good relationship. And as the Vice President said, I do plan to spend more time up north. My wife and I bought a place on a lake in Vermont, and this weekend we purchased a boat. So I'm not going to mind the demotion from chief to captain. I'm looking forward to that right away. So, but as far as our public safety situation here at URI, we've had a pretty good year. It's been fairly quiet on campus. Obviously, a lot less students on campus, so it's given us some time to work on our policies and procedures. Something that we've been working on along with and getting some help from South Kingston Police. We're looking forward to state accreditation probably by, I'm hoping before I leave in June. And a lot of it is putting together policies and procedures, as I said, 81 of them, and I can show you what our book looks like. It's pretty hefty, as you can see. So it's been a lot of work, but I think we're on the good side now. It should be completed, like I said, by June. The Vice President, Vice President Collins mentioned that public safety was very much involved in the COVID response. Our Office of Emergency Management, Sam Adams, and his folks worked quite closely with Ellen Reynolds, and I think they've done a great job. I think they've been a kind of like leading the state early for public institutions. The other thing that you should know that we've been working on really for about a year now. Last March, just before COVID struck, we co-sponsored a bill in the House of Representatives to amend the mutual aid legislation for non-emergency purposes. And I think I testified on the day before the State House shut down. And so the bill went nowhere last year. We testified again on March 4th. So we're hoping that, we're hoping for better results this year. This legislation would allow campus police to enter into mutual aid agreements with cities and towns for assistance in non-emergency purposes, such as commencement. That's obviously in normal times our biggest event. And going back to 2019, we used 104 police officers from other jurisdictions. 54 of them came from South Kingstown, which we can get their mutual aid because they obviously have jurisdiction also on campus. But if we don't get this bill passed, what's happened now is the insurance companies have said they will not allow their police officers to work in another jurisdiction without a mutual aid agreement. So unless we get this legislation passed, the next time we have a large commencement, I'm not exactly sure how we're going to be able to staff that with police officers. We use police officers from Westerly, South Kingston, as I mentioned, North Kingstown, Narragansett, Richmond, Charlestown, Capitol Police, CCRI, North Kingstown. So we really depend on those agencies to provide service, and a lot of it is just is traffic. As you I'm sure you know, the traffic situation during commencement can get pretty hectic. But we also have other large events on campus where you know, we can't provide enough police officers, and South Kingston may have all the things that they can't provide enough either. So we really need this to get this legislation passed. So I'm hopeful that Kelly can work her magic and get it done this year. And I think that's about all I have, unless anybody's got any questions for public safety. Yes, Rep. Fogarty.
Chief, I will follow up on that legislation and make sure that we get that passed for you. Kelly, you don't even have to call me. You can if you want. So we'll make sure that goes through, and I'm sure Senator Sosnowski on her side will do that. I'll let her chime in if she'd like to, but we'll be making calls after this.
Great.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Right. Chief, I will do the same thing. I will check in with the president's office and find out where it is, what's happening with that bill.
All right, Senator, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Stephen. Certainly some legislation that would be beneficial to the university and to the town. And sounds like we have some good assurance from our state legislatures here that it will get passed. But if no questions, we'll continue moving on. Next item is Route 138 reconstruction.
Right, and I'll be addressing that as well. I just wanted to bring you up to date on the complications of a project like the Route 138 project that the DOT has had on their boards for quite a while. We have a number of different infrastructure projects that we need to do that are dependent on the timing of DOT's Route 138 project. We have a main sewer replacement project, and we need to replace the Peckham Farm pump station. We own 92% of that, so that's one of the projects that we need to do. The Kingston water line from Peckham Farm Road to Upper College Road needs to be replaced, but that timing is complicated because we have to replace our water tank or renovate it first before we replace the water line so that we have adequate water pressure. We want to configure a better entrance to Peckham Farm. We've got a really exciting innovation campus going in there. You may have seen the Rhode Island Ag Tech project, and we're pretty sure that they're going to want to reconfigure that entrance for their purposes. And in addition, at the same time, we'd like to improve bike path and Graduate Village crossings of 138. So the difficulty we have is that DOT hasn't selected their design agent yet. The bridge that they want to redo at the train station seems to be held up as they try to figure out what the alternative traffic pattern will be. And so the thing we're concerned about is some of this work we need to go ahead and do. And what we don't want to do is to have to completely repave 138 and then have DOT decide that since the road's been fully repaved with a complete curb to curb or side to side repaving, that they won't do the full upgrade project. So we want to use temporary patching on the road after we do the sewer and the water lines and so on until DOT is ready to do the Route 138 upgrade. So really our request to you today is to simply, if you would keep that in mind so that when the Route 138 project comes up, the whole need for very close coordination of all of these pieces is topmost in your mind, and you can help us by supporting the DOT the need to actually put this together in a coherent way that is economical and efficient, so that we aren't paving the road twice or not getting the road paved alternatively.
Rob Zarnitsky, go ahead.
Yeah, so Abby, thank you. We appreciate the perspective. We've had a couple of meetings with DOT, RIDOT in the last several weeks. And this project has got a long and storied history. I guess it's about 25 or 30 years old now, which is, to be honest with you, just ridiculous. The original earmark came from Senator Chafee, Senator John Chafee, back in the 90s. And we have been told, or had been told at one point recently, that the original $12 million earmark had dwindled down to $7 million because DOT RIDOT practice is to charge an administrative fee against the account regardless of whether or not work has been done. We told them that we thought that that seemed like something the Inspector General at the, we didn't actually make this assertion, but it's the sort of thing that the Inspector General at USDOT frowns upon. You know, you received a federal earmark for $12 million. We need to have those monies available for this project. They went back and they looked and they, you know, tried to figure out what was going on with that project. They have found the $12 million. So we're back up to the program budget that we need to be at. The challenge now, though, is that even though they were at 90% design, they believe that the design is now outdated simply because it's been overtaken by technological events, et cetera. We're not sure that that's true. We're not sure that the design is as obsolete as they say. The design drawings are as obsolete as they say they are. And the other challenge is that even if the design drawings are not obsolete, cost escalation has made that $12 million project about a $30 million project. So there's some real challenges around that. Their fix to this situation is to go with signalized intersections as opposed to the roundabouts that were the original design. Now, from our perspective, signalized intersections improve safety. From the town's perspective, it's not going to be a major hassle for local residents. Signals aren't great, but they're not the worst thing in the world if you're only going, you know, half a dozen intersections. For the tourists coming from 95 to Newport and points east, intersections with signals as opposed to intersections that are roundabouts is probably a huge issue. It probably does have a severe impact on the tourism and friendliness of the roadways for people trying to come into Rhode Island for vacation, et cetera. So I think that RIDOT needs some encouragement, and they are at this point, I think, more receptive and more open to getting this project back on track than they have been. It sounds like at least in a decade. So, you know, I would encourage the university to do everything they can to take advantage of the new posture that RIDOT has taken. I think we can get them to a place where this project can be advanced. The trick really is, in my view, to figure out how to get the best project and not just the one that they can afford right now. When we spoke to them last week, their guesstimate at a full roundabout, a full build out of the original project as it was designed to 90% was a decade off. They still couldn't commit to doing that project for another 10 years. We need to really accelerate that. With all of the federal monies that are going to be coming to the state of Rhode Island, with a project that was earmarked by John Chafee in the 1990s, having the money sit around and not getting that project done is just not acceptable. It's just not, this is no longer a joke. This is just ridiculous. It needs to be resolved. We're going to need your help in this. They're in the right place right now. They're moving in the right direction. We're going to need some help here.
Well, we'll certainly provide all the help we can. When I arrived at URI 12 years ago, I was told that this project initiation was imminent, that it would be taking place the summer after my first year.
Yep.
And here we are now 12 years after that, and it's still not done. It'll take both of us working together, I think, to really get this over the goal line. And I know our senators and representatives have been really outspoken about the need to do the 138 project in the past, and we'll certainly need your help going forward. This will be one of the items on which I brief my successor and wish him better luck in getting this project done than I had.
So this project actually started when I was a young man. I had hair and it was brown. I was working in the US Senate doing earmarks at the time. I remember John Chafee's pushing for projects, not this one in particular, but he was a sight to be seen. He was an amazing guy. The fact that this project has not been done in all this time is just amazing to me. We also should be, I think, focusing this project not just on its benefit to people coming into and through Rhode Island, but it also is probably the best hope we have for building a good interface between the university and the town. We've talked about this some in the past, but we're not, URI's got something of an exoskeleton built around it. You guys have focused on development inside as opposed to trying to look for the permeability of the membrane between the town and the university. Part of that is because of zoning. We've had those discussions. Part of it, though, is because the transportation infrastructure has made the pattern of development, the exoskeleton, more rigid, more successful in its purpose, which is to keep the university isolated from the town. If we're going to see a good town university interface anytime in the next half century, it's probably going to be on the west side of campus, and it's probably going to be along Plains Road. We need that part of 138 to work, and it's not working right now. And intersections with signals are not going to work for that purpose either.
Thank you,
John,
Rob.
did I miss anything?
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, President Dooley. Certainly, I guess the council would urge the state legislatures here to do everything you can to ensure that we can get this project back on track. Obviously, well overdue and certainly beneficial to phasing the town and URI to be as more collaborative as possible. Anyway, moving on with the agenda. Next item is new URI building construction.
Certainly, I thought I would just give you all some highlights of the projects that are going on or will be going on soon on campus. I think in terms of things that affect the town directly, we have an ongoing utility infrastructure project, which from time to time causes us to dig up internal roads on the campus, which has some effect, but it's really important. We're modernizing the components of our steam condensate distribution system, the water distribution system, the electrical distribution system, sanitary sewer, and stormwater management systems. So that we hope to have that work done by 2023. We've been working on it as we go, and from time to time you will see evidence of that on campus. Then also we have repaving hardscape and landscape projects going on. And the one that is happening this summer is that we will be reconstructing the road between Upper College Road between Route 138 and Ranger Road, and then doing a mill and overlay resurfacing from Ranger Road to Flag Road. The good thing is that the sewer and water line replacements have been accomplished. We did that last summer, so this is sort of the second piece of that. So it does mean that Upper College Road will be a little complicated this summer, but it will, I think, wind up with a really nice looking complete street. And we're fairly excited about that. Also, in terms of traffic, one of the things that has been a project that was put on hold by COVID, but is now coming back to the fore, is that RIPTA wants to build a transportation center on our campus. We jointly put in a proposal for that, and RIPTA received a $10 million grant. Our participation is that we're providing a site for it on our campus and a small sum of money to help put the whole center together. It's not intended to be a park and ride. That RIPTA says they have other park and rides that are very well suited to that purpose. But what it will do is it will connect URI to the rest of Rhode Island and provide more routes and easier ways to get around South County. Because one of the problems right now is with the spoke and hub system that RIPTA has been using. There are evenings when one of our students at the Narragansett Bay campus, if they want to get to campus, have to go to Providence and then come back, because everything runs to Providence. So they are basically going to be rationalizing the bus routes in South County. So that project is starting up. It will be down in the Plains Road South lot, and should really be very helpful. We had made a lot of progress on encouraging the use of mass transportation before COVID. Of course, COVID really put a stop to that. But we're very hopeful that as we get the virus under control, we return to something near normal, that a lot of that good work that we did can be resumed, it can be caught back up, and that we can continue to encourage people to use mass transportation to go to and from campus as opposed to cars. We also are doing phase 2 of Ranger Hall. That really won't affect the circulation on campus particularly, but we're finishing the top 3 floors of Ranger Hall, which will, I think, be a great thing. That's a historic building that is the home of the Harrington School of Communications, and I think it's a great project. At the Narragansett Bay campus, we have phase 1 underway. That's the construction of a new dock. Marine Ops support building for the new ship, that the $125 million research vessel that we won the consortium, our consortium won the management contract for from the National Science Foundation, and one other building that is an ocean engineering building essentially. So that's underway, and again, we expect that you'll be seeing signs of that. I mean, I think the pier you actually can already see signs of, and that's very exciting. We really had to build a much larger pier because the new research vessel is much larger. On the campus again, we have the Fine Arts project, phase 1, which was recladding 5 of the pods. If you're familiar with the building, it's a set of 10 pods, we call them. 5 of which we decided we would keep and refurbish, and on the outside in particular. So they've been reclad and re-roofed. And now we're ready to start the next part of the phase 1B, we call it, which will be the construction of a new building, which actually replaces some of the other pods that are really, they're not accessible, and they have a lot of sort of basic shell problems that really made it more economical to replace them than to try to refurbish them. We have a combined health and counseling center, which I'm sure Ellen Reynolds wishes we had built last year before COVID, because I don't know to what extent you all have been aware that Ellen and her group have been delivering testing, exams, and healthcare out of a set of trailers, and the current health building, which is a very old, small building called the Potter Building that has been expanded 40 years ago with modulars that are still there. And so one of the things that it became very evident was that we need to have better health facilities on campus. And in addition, there's one benefit of COVID, which is that we learned that the design should be a little different. That putting everyone in one waiting room is not necessarily a great idea, and making sure that the circulation patterns are such that people aren't meeting each other in the hall. So we're in the process right now of relooking at that design to make sure that it meets what we now know about how to manage a pandemic, which was something we were innocent of a little over a year ago, but we have learned a lot since. And then finally, Memorial Union, that project was put on hold during COVID. It will be launched again, and it's a complete renovation of the building, but that has been delayed by a year essentially. So we're expecting that that project will start up in this year in terms of design, but we'll complete it in 2026. So those are the highlights of the projects that we're doing on campus. None of them, I think, is going to be, will have too many complications for the town. We're just doing our usual running around and digging up roads and putting them back. But I mean, we do that all the time. So.
Laurel Clark, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Councilor McEntee. I was hoping that I could hear a little bit more about the Upper College Road, and you said it was starting this summer. As you all are probably aware, that's home of our lovely Kingston Library, and I know we are losing some parking, but I'm worried about the Gateway apartment parking, and what that means for our patrons who already kind of struggle at that intersection. And I know the clean or the streetscapes is going to be much better and safer for everybody, but the library is starting to feel it, I think. And I'm just curious if you could expound on that.
Well, certainly I don't, that's, it's a great question. I don't have diagrams with me this evening. But what will happen is that there will be parking along the east side of Upper College Road. So patrons can presumably park along that road and walk to the library on the, on the east side. One of the things that I've been discussing with Rob is the fact that the folks who own the land directly north of the library could actually, if they were so inclined, sell the town a small piece of that lot for parking. And I've actually been tracking them down because I thought, I know that you have had conversations with them in the past, but this is, in a previous life, I used to work on these kinds of deals where you try to get someone to give you or sell you some land that you need. And so I thought I would take a shot at it for what it's worth, because I do think that it would be very nice for the library to have its own parking right behind the library. I mean, that would be really great. So I've been tracking them down. It's mostly the Shirley family, and I'm hoping that they will see that they could actually sell the town a small piece of land for some, to replace parking spaces and without affecting their access to Upper College Road at all, actually. And the way the lot is, it's not particularly, it wouldn't affect the buildability of the lot or anything else. So that's something I'm doing just because I like real estate problems. That's a real estate problem. I'd like to see if I can help to do that. Now, there's no telling. I mean, if the family doesn't want to sell, there's nothing we can do. But I thought I would give it a try.
Well, we would appreciate any information you have, and I think Rob wants to add to that as well.
Go ahead, Rob.
Thank you, Mr. President. So yes, Abby, thank you for everything you're doing in that area. We've reached out to the family as well. We've not heard back from them, so we're not all that optimistic that there is a deal to be done, particularly a no cash deal. It seems unlikely, but again, if you've got magic that we don't have, we're happy to perform it. It's a bit of a trick. I do want to point out though that this project is not all about increasing pedestrian safety. There is actually going to be a hazard created by this project, and I don't want folks to lose sight of this. If patrons cannot park at the apartments, and if parking is not dedicated on Upper College Road, then what we're going to see is patrons, some of them elderly, parking across the street at the church, coming down a steep staircase that literally trips into the intersection and walk across the street. We cannot, we've tried every way we can with RIDOT. There's no way to fix that staircase. It's a 17 knot construction. There's just nothing we're going to be able to do about it. But we can find parking on the other side of the street, so we do not have patrons with children or senior citizens trying to cross that intersection. It's a bad pedestrian situation we're setting up. We're not just improving things, we are disimproving as well.
Well, thank you for that. That's a perfectly important point. And the only thing I can think of is that there is parking along that side of Upper College Road. And so I would certainly urge your patrons to park there. Our students don't tend to park all the way up at the corner. They park further, as far into campus as they can go. And also, you may be aware that one of the things we did because of COVID is we put parking all along Flag Road. So there's actually additional on-street parking that didn't exist a year ago. So I'm hopeful that that will also take pressure off the spaces on the parking spaces toward Route 138 on Upper College Road.
The last plan I looked at, they were only leaving out of 6 car spaces, 3 and 1 being handicap. I'm not sure if that wasn't the most up-to-date plan.
In which piece of Upper College Road? Because
On the side of the library.
Briar Lane. Okay. Well, unfortunately, I don't have that map with you, but I'd be glad to get you an update of what the current plan is for parking on that side of the road. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
This is going to be a real pinch point as the project wraps up. So come fall, we're going to feel this, and it could have very dire consequences for the library. If parking becomes unavailable, then programming is seriously injured. If parking is only available at the church, then the pedestrian danger that I've talked about is real. So we're eager to find a solution here. And again, I think you're right. If we could figure out how to do a land swap or a purchase or anything with a family that owns that large parcel in the back and to the side, that'd be great. But I'm right now, I'm not particularly optimistic.
Yeah, well, I'll get you the updated diagram of that section of the road, between Route 138 and Briar Lane, and I'll send that to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. I do have one question. I believe at the last town gown meeting, which took place about 2 years ago, the university had outlined a plan to construct a building for a hotel that would have a restaurant, and they would be seeking a liquor license from the town council. Is that still in consideration?
That's on hold. And the reason is that the partner that we had identified to build the hotel is in the hotel business. And the hotel business, unfortunately, is doing very poorly. And especially because this particular operator owns all its hotels. They're not develop and sell, they develop and hold. So we have not given up on the hotel project. That's still a big goal. We think it's an important feature for the campus, but we are going to have to wait for the hospitality industry to get back on its feet, I think, before we're able to attract a hotelier or developer who will take that project on. But that one's near and dear to my heart. I really would love to see that happen. And so, I keep calling people and saying, don't forget, we've got this great location, but they're just really not ready to take it on yet.
I think the prospects on that remain pretty good. The underlying analysis of demand hasn't changed at all. In fact, it's probably would be greater now than it was when the original studies were done, given the number of people coming to the university, the growth in university enrollment, and the expansion of the number of events at the institution, and particularly some of the great plans that Kathy Collins had developed just prior to the pandemic for a much broader and more extensive summer programs at the institution, which would be good for everybody in terms of bringing people into South County and into South Kingstown for a variety of events who would then spread out and spend money. So we think the underlying economics of that are still strong. It's just a matter of the hospitality industry regaining a position where that kind of investment would make sense and pencil out as well as it did before the pandemic. So we remain optimistic. It's certainly going to be a top priority for the institution going forward. I'm confident of that because it's in the best interest of University of Rhode Island, no doubt. And I think it would be a great addition to the business sector in South Kingstown as well. So our interest remains strong, and I believe we'll remain committed to trying to get that done.
Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Dr. Dooley. Councilwoman Bergner.
Thank you, Rory. I just had a question about the property that you're talking about to maybe purchase for the parking. I'm not familiar with the north part. I'm thinking it's between the library and the Gender and Sexuality Center, somewhere in that area. But is there a historical cemetery there? I think there could be one there, and I think that might be an issue. Am I correct?
I don't know the exact location
Okay.
of the historical cemetery, but there are a couple of places where you could
Okay.
add some land.
Okay.
And so I think, you know, the main thing is, Rob pointed out, is we've got to get them to talk to us, and then we can
Right.
figure out, you know, what problem we're trying to solve. Right.
Yeah. Thanks.
Councilwoman Kelso?
I just have a question about the survey you were going to conduct on Toutel, on the pool. When last we spoke, there was some concern about the age of the pool, and I know a lot of South Kingstown residents take advantage of that. So do we know where the survey on that disposition is?
Yes, we do. I'm wondering, Kathy, are you here, or did she have to leave?
Abby, she had to jump off.
Oh, okay. I'll give the high points. I can't give it to you, you know, the information in as much detail as Kathy can, because she conducted the survey. But there was broad community support for the pool. There is broad community use of the pool. And really the difficulty that we're facing right now is that the pool requires major repairs and ultimately will have to be replaced. So we're looking at two approaches to this. One is, how can we get the absolutely must-do repairs done so that we can continue to use the pool, obviously for our diving team and for the scuba diving classes that we conduct for all of our research programs, not to mention the fact that we train the state's lifeguards for their DEM. So the pool is very important. I think that in the future, the problem is that we are going to have to look at this pool and probably put together a proposal that involves all the communities who use the pool, URI, some state money, maybe some federal money. And in fact, I have it in the back of my mind that this might be a good project to make a proposal for on the second or third round of federal funding, because the pool is a wonderful amenity, but there is really no such thing as a pool that pays for itself. It does require public investment of some sort in order to be affordable. So I think that going forward, you may well be hearing from us about ways that we might partner in something resembling a public-private partnership, and some pieces with a capital stack that has some URI money, some towns money, some state money, and maybe even some federal money if we can identify some to replace the pool, because ultimately it's going to have to be replaced.
Thank you.
Abel Collins.
All right. Hey, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I just got back from getting my vaccine, so I'm very excited about that, but realized everything else flew my mind. So thank you, Rory, for taking over, and totally happy with you continuing to run the meeting since I'm here on my cell phone and really don't have all that much operability on my phone. So the one issue I wanted to bring up that I brought up at the last time we had a chance to all get together was, trying to foster some more cooperation between our school district and potentially the School of Education up there at URI. I know we had made, I think it was Kathy Collins who had begun sort of talking with the school administration, but I'm sure that sort of all got lost in the wash with COVID. But I'd love to restart that conversation. If you recall, I mentioned an organization called Eye to Eye that brought mentors from colleges into local school systems to try and mentor kids with learning differences and close achievement gaps. And I think that's something that ideally we could see happen in SK. So just putting a plug in for that again.
Well, we can certainly, that's a great idea. We can certainly relay that to Kathy. I'm sure that she'll be very interested in resuming that conversation. You're absolutely right. COVID sort of put everything on the back burner. But I'm sure she'd be happy to engage with Dean Roll on that conversation and carry it forward. So I'll let her know that you inquired about it.
Yeah, that's quite right, Abel. I mean, it's just a matter of switching from kind of innovative, expansive mode that we were in prior to COVID-19 into sort of figuring out every way possible to keep the university afloat, operational, and provide high quality education to our students and continue as best we can all of our partnerships and relationships across the state. Now that we can see, beginning to see, I think hopefully the end of this intense part of the pandemic and have some more flexibility, we'd like to come back to those conversations. I think it's a great idea. I think we can say with considerable confidence that many of our students who are in various programs would find that of interest. Our students are very sort of, I think, open-minded about taking on those kinds of things as part of their own education and look for those kinds of experiences to enhance their own qualifications for whatever they want to do outside of URI. They're also very philanthropically minded and like to, if they don't have money, to give time to help organizations like this. It's been my experience for 12 years that our students are pretty highly motivated to do these kinds of things. If given the right opportunity, they're always interested in internships and so forth for them to pursue while at URI. So I think it's something worth picking up for sure. And I think you'll find there'll be a lot of interest in it on the campus.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Abel. Next on the agenda here is new URI road construction and town road work in proximity to the university.
I think we've actually covered that. I covered that sort of in the projects that are ongoing. So I think we can count that one as done.
All right. John Schock, anything you'd like to add with your institutional knowledge?
The only thing I was going to mention and add to Rob's presentation on 138, that those numbers are strictly for contract 1, which is from 108 to the Amtrak bridge. It did not include contract 2, which was the original envision to go all the way to Route 2. So I don't know if we would ever see contract 2 anytime soon. I think we'd just be lucky if we get contract 1 done.
Okay, thank you. We've reached the end of the agenda here. If anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand and I will acknowledge you. Otherwise, we appreciate the meeting tonight. Dr. Dooley, you've done an unbelievable job as the president of URI, and obviously your absence will be missed and that will be hard shoes to fill. But we have great confidence. I'm sure your leadership team has great confidence in your successor, and we know the university will continue to expand and get better and do great things. Deb Bergner.
Thanks, Rory. I just wanted to, because I am a URI employee, I just wanted to thank Dr. Dooley. I know he's on his victory tour heading out. And for me, the last 12 years have really transformed here. I look at the College of Engineering that we just opened, Brookside, Hillside, the Gender and Sexuality Center, Avedisian Hall. I mean, so many amazing projects you built, but you've also built a lot of connections both in the university and globally, like all your initiatives in China and bringing us to the forefront. So I'm going to miss seeing you on move-in day. We meet in housing sometimes, and I really appreciate that. And I also wanted to say goodbye to, I know him as Major Baker, but he's now Director Baker. I miss you, Steve, and your elevation of the police department to a professional department. You transitioned us to having firearms and also just a huge commitment with Major Jagoda for community policing. I mean, it's really, I've been at URI so long, so I will miss what you both bring as leaders to URI, and I wish you the best. But I just have this I get this great opportunity because my worlds are both meshed right now. So I want to wish you both the best when you head out into the next chapters. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Deb.
Senator Sosnowski.
Thank you, Rory. Thank you very much. This has been a very interesting meeting. I always enjoy it. I have to say, Dr. Dooley, you have just been such an outstanding president for URI. I want to thank you for all the great work you have done. You've been such a great promoter for the university and for our state. And you've just accomplished so much for the university. And you've always been appreciative, always been genuine, kind, great to work with. And it's just been such a great pleasure. And I wish you all the best, and all the best to Lynn as well. And it's been a great 12 years with you here. And I'll miss you. The community will miss you. We'll never forget you. So thank you. And I also want to say congratulations to Chief Steve Baker. I didn't know you were going to retire. You've done a great job, and best of luck to you in Vermont. And the university will move forward. And it's been great work that you gentlemen have given to our community, and it's very much appreciated. So good luck.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator. It's been a pleasure to work with you over the years. You know how I feel about the great work you've done on behalf of the university. And Kelly and I will always treasure the day that you introduced the bill in the Senate to create the Board of Trustees for the University of Rhode Island, Senator Sosnowski.
Yep.
And that will launch a whole new era, I think, of success for the university. No doubt about it. So you've been great to work with, and I just appreciate all the time that we had to share.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good luck.
Representative Fogarty.
Thank you, Rory. I too also want to thank you, President Dooley, for all your hard work. We came in together. I was the president of the council. You were the president of the universities. We sat together at your first town and gown meeting. And to think that 12 years has gone by is unbelievable at this point. But what you've done for the university, your kind, steady hand guiding the university, I truly appreciate. Speaking of that board of directors bill, I did so hard try to work to be on that bill, but somebody got a thing of white out and took my name off of that bill. He's no longer there anymore, so things are moving much more smoothly. So I think that your bills that have been put in will get through without a problem this year. And I wanted to say, again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming in and taking over the university and guiding it. We've had some good times over the years. We certainly have. So thank you. And I wish you the best going back to Montana, and please come back and visit us here, Dr. Dooley. And then for Steve Baker, I've already been on the text here. I've already got that bill trying to be moved forward so we can get it on the agenda for next week and move that forward for you. Okay, so.
Thank you very much.
We're on.
Much appreciated.
Okay. And congratulations on your retirement also, and enjoy Vermont.
Thank you.
Representative Fogarty, again, it's hard to say in just a few words how important you've been to the university, and what a great ally you've been on our behalf and spokesperson. And we know you worked hard for that bill, even though your name wasn't on it. And we appreciate that. And we appreciate your advocacy on a host of other things as well, and your steady support and your enthusiasm for what's happening here at URI. And like I say, it's been relationships like the ones that I've enjoyed with many of you here that makes the work so worthwhile. And I just ask you to work as closely with the new president as you did with me. I think you'll find that he's going to be a great leader and a visionary. And I think he'll be well prepared to keep the University of Rhode Island moving forward. But he won't be successful if he doesn't enjoy the same kind of support from you that you've been so generous in sharing with me. So thank you in advance for that too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, if no one has any more questions or comments, we are out early tonight, just before 7:15. It's been a pleasure. We appreciate everyone's appearance tonight. It's been a good meeting, effective, and thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Good night, everybody.